Kids are playing really hard, and pleased to see that, and proud of them for that. And they played well for the majority of the game Saturday. But we've got to figure out how to finish. And when you're playing a top 20 team, which I think Missouri is, they're solid, very solid, and you can't have lapses or bad calls or bad execution at critical moments. And we played two top 20 teams in the last 3 weeks, or at least they were ranked that at the time, and have had the lead in the fourth quarter, and not able to finish is incredibly disappointing and frustrating, for sure. I've never had a season, and I guess it's my 32nd season counting high school. I've only had one regular season losing record, and gosh, this is seems like that every winnable game has not gone our way, not a single one. And obviously I hate the result for the players and our incredible fans and administration and you guys that cover us, and I hate it. It makes you sick, physically ill, when you don't get across the finish line, and it makes you act crazy and say crazy things to those you love sometimes, and it's just it's frustrating. And it's and the great thing about it is, man, it teaches you so much about who you are in the valley, and teaches you perspective of really keeping your eyes on the right things in the challenging moments, which for me is the impact that the chance I have to impact this building by what they see, and how I handle the challenging times. And I haven't had a ton of practice at that in throughout the years, and so I'm having to learn about myself and seek great counsel, and obviously stay grounded in my faith and what I know to be true and pure and good, and hopefully keep this building continuing to work like they are and playing as hard as they do. I mean, we have a young team, and they're learning and they're growing, but I do think we still play not to lose, instead of, man, let's play to win. And truthfully, we probably are coaching that way some too. I feel the pressure of those calls of not being free to do what I've done for years, and oh man, we could screw this up, or we could not execute this correctly, and so those are all feelings that are real and legitimate, and probably have an effect on us not finishing games really well. When you watch that game, you look at 3 different drives to me, but we have a really good drive in the third quarter, and truthfully, it's a touchdown. And I mean, the game's over, and we have to make that play. And it hits him right in the hands. It's a perfect throw, and I'm not beating up Robert. He's one of our greatest kids on our team, and nobody hurt. He sent a text out to us on the bus to the team that would break your heart. I mean, just like, that's on me. And obviously there's a lot of other plays, but you make that play, or you make that field goal, or you make a different call as a coach at a different time, but the game could have easily been over. Defensively, I thought we played probably our most complete game, outside the 78-yard completion where we had rack coverage called, and it should just never be. I mean, we're just young, but we're right there, and it's a great call by DJ and them, and but yet they made a play. They had a good quarterback, a good receiver, and he made a play and gave them an explosive run that gave them their first score to get back in it. And And you got to give Brady credit for coming back and extending plays with his legs, which really hurt us. But and then that drive right before the third on offense, and then the drive after we stopped them, after we pinned it, our punt team pinned it on what the one or whatever, we get it back in a short field, and then that's our chance to put the game away. And we have a negative run on first down, and we just didn't execute it. You're giving it to your best guy and on his own play, and you got to give them credit. Their defensive front is good, but we didn't execute it very well either. And then we miss Rivaldo on a wide open. He had a little pressure on him. We didn't protect extremely well on that play. But boy, if we can make that throw, that's a game changer. And then I think throws a little high for Sam on the third down play, which I think he was going to run for a first there. And we just don't make any of them. And then obviously they have an 18-play drive to win the game, and we were absolutely gassed. And DBs, the young ones who had played pretty well at keeping everything in front of them most of the game, man, they got tired in that, and your technique went from like we're watching it yesterday with the defensive staff. It's just, the same call was executed 3 times perfectly in the first half, and my alignment that's supposed to be just outside tip or just inside tip, all of a sudden in this 18-play drive with the game on the line, everything changed in the way we went about technique and playing it. And we did get gassed too up front and couldn't get any pressure. And so that's really the game in a nutshell in my eyes. And it's just frustrating. I've said it before. I remain confident in the staff and our players, and just continue to trust the process of what we're becoming through the challenging times. And hopefully the results will start to show sooner than later. I know they're coming, and no one wants to see the Auburn family and our players get to enjoy that more than myself.
Questions, front row? Oh.
Hey Hugh, I don't think we've really asked you about play calling. How do you feel like it's been adjusting back into play calling a lot more on Saturdays, and then during the week? Do you feel like you're as involved as you need to be, and still obviously doing everything that you've got to do as a head coach?
Yeah, it's a challenge. This morning, we're trying to get to the basis of the Kentucky plan in, and got a stream of players that I want to see and spend time with, and so that's been in and out, and I've been in and out, and but I'm pretty clear with the guys what I think that we can do, and I think we're all in agreement and alignment on that. The play calling part has been obviously Nick's does some of it, Kent does some of it, but I've for sure had my share of it. Has been it's 4 hours of stress. It's 4 hours of man feeling like you have to have the perfect call for us right now. That we don't have a lot of erasers. We don't have a lot of we just don't have a lot of the margin for error. It seems so small, and maybe that's the feeling that has you feeling like, man, we've got to get this, like I wanted to, when we got that ball, to take a shot, and shoot, 5 years ago I'd have done that and not worried. But then you're 2nd and 10, and you're like, God, we didn't give it to 27, and we should have. And then we give it to 27, and we don't execute it exactly right, and there Ian made a great play, and you're 2nd and 12. But it's a challenge to recruit your current roster, to help work on the offensive game plan. Thank God I've got guys I trust on the defensive side, because if I had to do anything more over there, it definitely wouldn't be enough time in the day. And then this profession has gotten to where, you feel like you're, lifting weights, and and there's an added 45 dumbbell like every other day possibly with something else, whether it's the transfer world or an academic or a discipline issue or a family issue that a kid's having, and when you're a relational staff like we are, you know, they feel the comfort level to, let me go see Coach Freeze. And so that is, it is a lot, but I enjoy being a part of trying to figure out how to get this offense, along with Coach Nix, Coach Austin, Coach Davis, Coach Thornton, and all of the guys that are in there, our analyst crew, to be efficient and to find a way to put games away. And really felt like we had one of our better drives of the year that ended the third quarter, and you know, just got to finish that drive, and the game probably is over.
After the first series, we saw D Wade at left tackle the whole rest of the way. Do you expect that to be the case moving forward?
Yeah, we'll continue to look at that this week. The movement stuff that has started to happen against us because we were really good at getting into correct runs against fronts for several games. So everybody's trying to do pattern what others have done, and we had a couple. Well, you know, Percy struggled with it in all reality, and first play of the game, we should have a completion for I don't know what. Dre would have caught it and tight turned, and you know, I don't know, 10 yards, let's say, and we just totally, the movement messed up Percy, and he just totally kind of didn't block anyone, and the guy sacked us. And I love Percy, and we're going to continue to work with him. The movement is just, it's giving him some problems, and we just didn't, we felt like we would be a little more sound with the other crew in there if that was going to be their game plan.
Could have left Mike and then Jay.
Coach, you talked about after the game they were able to take the RPO game away from you. You know, can you, in your words, describe how they were able to do that, and what's your pivot? You know, when teams try to do the same thing to you.
Well, I mean, the box is a good box to run against, so you hand it off, and you know, I don't know what our average rush was. I can't remember, but it was pretty solid. So that is the answer. I had a feeling, you know, they were going, you know, window those safeties pretty deep and play some outside tip coverage on our single guy to the boundary, and but again, they can't do that and still have you outnumbered in the box, and so I thought we were pretty effective at running it most of the day. They had some good plug deals with their backers that caused us problems in the second half some. But they definitely were not going to let us sit there and throw RPOs for sure. So you got to be able to run the football.
Stay in the front, Brian and Jason, or Jay, excuse me.
Yes, you talked about wanting to get Jarquez more touches. You did almost 50% more than his average, but his production went down. When you dig into it, why was that the case?
Well, they're pretty dang good. You know, that's a very mature defensive front, and you know, I think they're really, really solid. And outside the one game of the A&M game, I mean, their stats are they're top, 3 or 4 in like everything. So it's a really good defense that not many people have just shredded. So yeah, could we have blocked things a little differently and better? Sure, but they're teaching their guys to get off blocks also, but I thought he ran it effective enough for us to be balanced and obviously to have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, you were saying earlier, I was intrigued about our team is not playing to win, they're playing not to lose, and that maybe there's coaching involved in that as well. Tell me about that. I mean, because I think of you guys as like being cutthroat on the headsets, just going for the kill all the time.
Yeah.
Is that not how it really is?
Yeah, it's how you want it to be. You know, you want to feel that way all the time, and but you want to have the confidence and certainly want to do what's right for your current team to give them the best chance to win. And you know, it's just like I was saying on the to Justin a while ago, on the very last possession that we had, I really wanted on the first play to take a shot and go for the kill. I really did, and I really think it was a good play and a good call. You also just had a defense that stoned them on 3 and out inside the 5-yard line, and you know, we haven't always taken care of the ball or protected when I feel free and loose and all the time. So all of those things are in your mind, and so you know, I obviously reverted to giving it to our best player in 27, and then ended up having to punt and putting on our defense again, which I didn't mind doing at that point because they were playing so well. But you know, Brady Cook did a great job of extending plays. The penalty hurt us. Also, we had a misalignment by a freshman corner on 3rd and 10 that really hurt in that last drive. But yeah, it's just, you know, I don't know. I didn't feel like, and that could be just all my emotions and feelings too, that we're not playing to win from the thoughts I have in my mind. It may not even be in our kids' minds. Who knows? I'll talk to them today in the team meeting about that and get some honest feedback. But there's no question that you feel the pressure of those moments of, all right, do I just be free and loose like most of my life in coaching has been, or man, we're so desperate our kids deserve to win one of these games. Don't do anything that's going to put them in jeopardy of doing that.
Second row, at 2.
Hugh, on Saturday, you guys ran some different stuff like that full house pistol set, some of the direct snaps. And you guys also ran some different stuff against Georgia too. Do you feel like the guys are doing a good job of like picking up some of that new stuff, some of those tweaks that y'all are doing, or?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, some of those were explosive runs, so you know, those are good things. And then there was probably a couple that we didn't have a complete understanding of if they gave you this certain look. So I think the answer is yes and no. I mean, it's not like, in our system that 3-back stuff, truthfully, the line doesn't have a clue that it's any different. So it's not like they should screw that up. So I don't think that stuff's an issue at all. You know, it's probably when you're having a new formation or a new motion or something like that may be a little much. But I didn't think any of all the new stuff that we kind of put in seemed to be pretty successful.
Towns has struggled the last few ball games. How close is Alex for you to
Yeah, we were. Should we have another opportunity within the 35-yard range, we were gonna give Alex that shot. He felt like he told me he felt like he could do that. So we're close to thinking on that. We'll see how the week goes. Again, we're excited about Towns and his future and his talent. But you know, we need to make those. Those are critical moments that keep our momentum up and us feeling good and us feeling like, man, we're finding ways to win the game. And but he did feel like he could have participated if we had that situation again Saturday.
Third row,
Kentucky's been pretty up and down this season, but the defense has been one of the best in the conference. What have you seen from them, or what are the biggest challenges you think that you guys are ready to go Saturday?
Yeah, first, Coach Stoops, I think, is one of the best in the business. I think he gets more out of his teams year in, year out than most coaches do, and so give him a lot of credit, and like him as an individual, and does a great job coaching. But this defensive front, it starts there. They're the real deal. Zero's probably a top 15 pick in the draft. 8's pretty dang salty too. The backers are really, really talented. They can run in the secondary. It's one of the better defenses we've seen.
Jason, front row.
You talked about some mistakes the young guys have made, but 6 months ago, could you have ever envisioned that you'd have Jay Crawford and Kinsley Fowson out there starting corners? And how much have you seen those guys grow?
They're growing, man. They're getting better too. It's just it's uncomfortable, but they're definitely growing and getting better. I see it in practice, in one-on-ones, and and they're playing against some really good players. They had some good receivers, and thought for the most of the game again. They did some things that last drive that, man, and you can go back and see it in the first half that they did it perfectly. But you get tired and pressure's on and things are moving fast at that moment, and man, my alignment's just that much off, and it makes it a difference in the leverage. And so you're still seeing some of those things, but there's no question that they're improving for sure.
Second row.
You kind of touched on it earlier, a little bit of lack of execution to open up the game offensively. But you guys have struggled to open up the games, especially in conference play. What's kind of feeding into those slow struggles? Or defenses kind of throwing different looks at you than what you're seeing to them?
No, not really. I mean, that one there, let's start with what really happened. I mean, we get a penalty on special teams, which we've had too many of those. Offensively, we're like one of the best in the nation at lack of penalties. Special teams, we're not good. And it started us on the 5-yard line, and we totally M8'd on the first play of the game and take a sack. So you're not going to be aggressive and recover from that on the first drive of the game. I don't care what game I'm coaching in. We're probably not fixing to do something really stupid right there, other than try to get us a little field position and punt the football, and which we did, and our defense held them, I think, or they missed a field goal or something after that. I can't remember, but it wasn't a touchdown. I do know that. So that's I can't go back and remember all the other first drives, but that one was a tough one. I mean, you get the penalty that puts you back inside the 5, and then you give up a sack the very first play on a quick game, which the ball's coming out, or it should come out like that. And I mean, we literally didn't have time to throw it, which means we totally made that. So that's what killed the first drive.
Hugh, just the one catch for Cam on Saturday, but into the end zone, nice throw, nice touchdown. How big was it for him and his confidence to get into the end zone and hopefully build on that for the back half of the season?
Yeah, we need those young guys to keep growing up. Dre's the most mature of that group, the most complete. We need to get him more touches too. 11, Malcolm's doing some good things with the things we're asking him to do. Cam, obviously, the deep threat has been proven that he's that. We've got to keep him improving the intermediate part of his game. He really should have had an opportunity for 2 other catches, and he did not execute the route properly. And the frustrating thing is, like I'm talking to Jason earlier, is just, I mean, these kids are so very talented, and they're the future and foundation of our program, and you see them do it in practice, and then the bullets get real and things change a little bit, and that coverage is a little different than I experienced against the service team in practice, and I cut this route 2 yards short, and those things continue to happen some. I mean, we're getting better. Perry's had a couple of really good weeks, so has Bryce. And Malcolm's getting better at understanding things, and obviously Cam's getting his reps. But we just got to get really a lot more consistent in all of the techniques of running those routes.
Back to Joe.
It was announced last week that the last 2 remaining games that have tickets are now sold out. So that's 2 season sellouts in your first 2 seasons. What does that support mean?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about the Auburn people. The ones that made the trip to Missouri, they'll make it to Kentucky, but then to sell out both our last home games, again, just speaks to the love and passion they have for this place, the players, their support of the staff, even in difficult times. And I know this is this profession is one where everybody says win now, win now, win now, and I'm sure, I'm not on social media, but I'm sure, you know, the narrative is always get rid of the guys, let's change, and the Auburn people, I know that in the past, the Auburn fans or Auburn people may have this I don't know, this knock that goes against them, that they're not really supportive of. That has been far from the case for me, and my experience is they are incredibly supportive and pulling for the next game and the next success and the next opportunity and the next recruiting class and the vision that we've casted from Dr. Roberts and John Cohen down to me, being on the same page and in alignment, and from our Own to Victory folks and everything that's going on in this new college game. I think what Jeff is saying is just, I couldn't be more thankful for and the support of the Auburn family, and they continue to prove it over and over again.
Finish up the two in the back row.
Coach, you talked about the pressure, the stress, and it's only going to ratchet up with the games going by, a handful of them left. Not a simple question, I guess, but how do you get to playing freely, and is there a path to being that team that takes that shot again as the season goes on?
Yeah, that's a great question, and let me say, I may have described it imperfectly, sort of like I do a lot of things sometimes. It's not, man, I don't mind the pressure, I don't mind any of that. I just want to do the right thing for your kids at the right moment. And I think it comes down to, we've got to gain some confidence in each other and for those moments that are winning moments that will end up giving us the win on the scoreboard. And we've got to find a way to get, whether it's the DBs or whether it's a fresh pass rusher that maybe is really young. We talked about yesterday some guys that hadn't even played a lot yet. Maybe we need to carry them, and just on third down, man, tell a TJ Lindsey or a DJ Reed, man, go sack the quarterback. You know, you're fresh legs and they're talented kids. Now you got to manage the 74-man travel roster and all of that, but and then me, you know, having confidence, man, Peyton's going to take care of the ball, and our receivers are going to run the exact right route and all of that. And we're at a point in the year where we as coaches should have that fixed, and so I've got to get that and put that in my rearview mirror too, as if I'm calling a play, man, don't think the negative.
Coach, you mentioned briefly on Kentucky's defense and how solid they've been. Last week, kind of an outlier. They allowed almost 200 yards on the ground. From your study of that game, do you believe that there are going to be opportunities for you to attack on the ground and just be a big game?
Well, you know, I know Coach Stoops. He will not be happy with their performance, and they will be working on fitting the run this week like they have every other game. I mean, that is a total outlier, which it happens in college football. You're coaching kids still, and it's just, that hasn't been the case. If you go look at the rushing stats against them on all the other teams, Georgia included, all of them, they're not that. So I don't make too much of that game. I hope they play like that, but it's probably doubtful. I think Lexington at night, and a home game for them, will probably get their best.
All right.